Hello, I'm the Accidental Bookseller and welcome to the channel. The last book haul post was books for me, books that I bought at High Peak Bookstore near Buxton. Today we're going to switch things around to selling. I've got 40 books that I spent £4 on, which I'm going to try and sell. We'll go through those and explain what I'm going to sell them for, hopefully, and take it from there. So currently I sell on eBay, I sell on Facebook Marketplace, I occasionally do book fairs, although I find that's not very cost effective. I'll explain why in another video. And I sell at a bookshop in Sedbergh, similar to an antique centre where you rent a space to sell your antiques. There you rent shelves to sell your books on. I've been doing it about a year. It's been really enjoyable trying to guess what sells. There's 16 other booksellers in this shop. It doubles up as the tourist information office in Sedbergh, and about a third of it is tourist information. They sell things like jams and pens and calendars and things like that. Then 2/3 of the shop is given over to 16 or 17 dealers who sell variety of genres at a variety of prices. I've got my style of what I sell, and you might get another seller who sells architecture books. You might have someone who specializes in children's books. You might have someone who specializes in folios, crime. Some will sell hardbacks, some will sell paperbacks. Some seem to have a pricing strategy where they will charge a lot of money for rarer books. Some will sell more populist, more modern stuff. It's a variety. And here's me, I come along and try and sell mine. Up to 2 or 3 months ago, I was selling books over 6 shelves, and I've got 2 history shelves, 1 classic fiction, 1 crime fiction, 1 rural, let's call it. Is that 5? And then 1 kind of miscellaneous that at the moment has been given over to a second crime. I had an influx of crime books, so I used a second shelf for crime. Then one day, about 3 months ago, I was doing my monthly refill. It's about 20 to 25 miles away is the bookshop, so I don't go very often. I go once a month, once I know what's sold. Anyway, I was going through my shelf and filling it up one day, and there was another dealer there, a lady. I heard her speaking to someone. She sells children's books. I'd already spoke to the lady in charge of the shop. I realised there was also a market for older children's books, not new things that you can go into Waterstones today and buy, but older, sort of 1990s, 1980s, 1970s and before. The reason those sell is you'll get grandparents coming in to buy books for the kids, and also you may have grandparents and parents going in to shop for themselves in more general book shopping, and they'll see those type of kids books, and it'll cast their minds back to when they were young, and they appear to buy some of them. So I'd said, look, if another couple of shelves become vacant, if another seller gives up, I'd be interested. I had to wait a couple of months, and 2 more shelves opened up. So I also now have 2 children's shelves. So hence, when I go through these 40 books for £4, there'll be some children's books in there. The secret, well, won't call it a secret, but one of the things that I find is important, and it's probably obvious to you, is I like to buy books as cheap as possible, and obviously you sell them for as much as you can. It's no good buying a book for £1 or £2 and try and selling it for £5 or £6, because you'll soon learn that if you're selling books, it's very hard to predict what people are buying, or what they might fancy, or what they'll take a punt on, and you could be left with that £1 or £2 loss if you can't sell it, or you might have to sell it for 50p, or you'll make a loss on it. Whereas if you buy something for 30p, 40p, 50p, however much you sell it for, you're going to be in profit. So I try and do that. In terms of where I buy books from to sell, I started off doing auctions. That's tricky, because when you go to an auction, you buy boxes of books, you are left, you have loads of books everywhere. They're on your landing, they're in your hall, they're in your different cupboards, they're in your spare rooms, they're everywhere, because you'll typically maybe walk away with 10 or 12 boxes of books, and you've got to sort through them, you've got to price them, and it's tricky. I've done that. I do want to go to an auction again soon, just to see post-COVID whether it's had an effect on prices, or just generally if things have changed at auctions in terms of how much you've got to spend for boxes of books. I also look on things like Facebook Marketplace and eBay for people selling bundles and job lots. So for instance, I saw on Facebook Marketplace there was someone selling children's annuals. They were selling 20 odd children's annuals. It ended up being 28 for £5. And they were like Beano's, Bash Street Kids, Dandy, those sorts of things from 80s and 90s. And I quickly learned that those sell, if you price them at £2.50, £3, and some of the rarer ones you might go £4.50, £5, even more for older and rarer ones. They do sell. And so if you've just done an outlay of £5, it's a no-brainer. So I sold a few of those, and I was looking for more, and there was someone on Facebook Marketplace selling about 30 for £20. £20, I think I'm going to say £20. It was certainly, I certainly paid less than £1 a book. Could even be 15. Can't remember. I'll have to check on my spreadsheet. It's 15 or £20 for what ended up being 30. Well, it didn't end up being 30. It was advertised as 30, but it ended up being about 32, 33. So I went to pick them up at this lady's place of work, and she worked in an auction house where they don't auction stuff, but they sort through stuff. And I just nipped in to buy the annuals, and one of the blokes who worked there, he'd also brought 3 boxes of really old books that his mother had had. His mother, maybe he'd gone into a home or something, or was getting rid of them, and he was looking to sell them at auction. And he tried to sell me these 3 boxes because they'd asked me what I was wanting the kids' annuals for. So I told him. He says, "Well, how about £90 for these?" And I didn't reply. I didn't say yes or no. I just said, "Look, I've got a lot already to sell." And he immediately said, "Okay, £80. How about £80?" And I answered yes or no. So I then said, which was true, because I said, "I've got the boiler repairman doing the service, yearly service for my boiler tomorrow." And I was concerned that he was going to think I was a hoarder because of the amount of damn books that I've got around that I need to sort and sell. So he said, so again, I didn't say yes or no. I just laid a scenario of why I might or might not be interested. He says, "Okay, one-time deal, £60 for these 3 boxes of old hardback books." By old, I'm meaning sort of kind of 1920s to 1960s. But during this conversation, I'd had a chance to look down at these books because he'd brought them through from the other room, and I realised there's definitely more than 60, a lot more than £60 worth. I could see some old sort of leather-bound classics. I could see an old Gone with the Wind, not particularly expensive, but I thought if they're like this, you could be talking maybe a recoup of 200, 250, £300. So it was a no-brainer. But I didn't know if I had any money. So I said, "Let me go in the car, see what I've got." I had my wallet in the car. Looked in my wallet, I had £60. It was foretold. So paid me £60, got the 3 boxes in the car, got to sort them through. I'll do them on maybe an unboxing for those. I've already sold, I think, 3, maybe 4 of those up in Sedbergh. There was a leather-bound Tale of Two Cities. There was a leather-bound, and by leather-bound, it was like really soft, really nice leather, and it's kind of like a miniature book. And I priced them at £12 or £15 if I was trying to sell them on eBay. So I put them at 10. I think there was one at 9. They sold. So I've already recouped about 25 to 30 pounds back, and I've only sold 3, possibly 4. And in the 3 boxes, there's probably about 70 or 80 books. So that's the sort of thing I get. And you try and buy law, you try and buy things that people want. You try not to buy sort of populist books where there's loads of things. Charles Dickens is a hard seller. I said I sold Tale of Two Cities. Things like Charles Dickens, Anthony Trollope's another one, difficult. Even popular current ones like J.K. Rowling, David Walliams, anything that's popular where there's a lot in circulation or a lot of different versions, it's a hard sell. Or if you sell, you got to sell cheap. What I tend to do is on me 8 shelves, I have a mixture of the history books. I got a job lot of history. I paid £70 for about 120, 130, maybe 150 history books, and so I'm running out of those. I might need to make a decision. Do I do more history, or do I just rest that for a while and fill it with other stuff? But what I do is I'll have various sort of price points where I'll have maybe more expensive ones, like in a box set of Graham Greens for about 35 to 40 pounds. That sold in 6 weeks. But then I like to have a lot of everyday low price items, because there isn't much of that in the Sedbergh shop. I'll go through their sales, and those stuff does sell, but it might take a longer time to sell. But my strategy is to get more popular items and price them quite lowish and get them out the door. Because I did ask to see, I asked where I was in the sort of scale of the 15, 16, 17 sellers in terms of my monthly sales. And I was above average. And they told me what the most was and what the least was. And I thought, well, I'm doing something right by doing that. I've only really had one quiet month, which was in December last year. I average about £110 worth of sales a month. So I'm not buying an island in the Pacific anytime soon, but it's enjoyable. It's a constant puzzle of, what to buy, what's going to sell. Plus, most importantly, is when you get a job lot, you will be left with stuff that you can't sell anywhere else. So I have a policy of, I don't list anything on eBay that I'm not going to make a profit of £5 on, because by the time you've photographed it, you've described it, you've obviously sold it, hopefully, you've packed it, you've taken it to the post office, that's a lot of time. And if you're selling something where you get your profit margin, you're only going to make about £1.20, £1.30, it ain't worth it. So I don't sell anything where I'm going to make less than £5, as I just said. But if I have books that I can't sell for more than that, one thing I do is I will try and I'll wait and get bundles. So for example, let's say I've got in a job lot, there might be 2 Clive Cussler paperbacks, which you can't sell Clive Cussler paperbacks for any money. But if you save up and get 5 or 6 Clive Cussler books, then you've got a chance of, you might sell them, you might price them up at £9. By the time your post is off, you've got a profit of £5. Or if it's somebody more popular than that, you can make more money. Or you might end up getting a job lot of a particular author. I've got a job lot of a lady called Jean Plady that I've never heard of before, but she writes, or wrote, not sure whether she's still with us, she writes historical fiction from like Henry Tudor and to the Norman conquest, that sort of era, in Pan, the old Pan book paperbacks. I got 16 of those. So I think the total price, I'm selling them in I've separated them into two bundles for about £12 each. When you try pricing something up, you don't look at what it's currently for sale for. you look at what it's sold for, and that stops you overpricing. You've also got to be conscious of the parrot. You've got to have an imaginary parrot on your shoulder, as I like to describe it, where you will have a book, you'll research how much it's worth, and you'll think, oh, I can get £15 for that. But just because you think you can get £15, don't mean to say you will. But if you priced it at 11 or 12, you're a lot more probable of selling it than it could stick at 15 or 16 for ages. Just because you're hopeful of selling it, don't mean to say you will. So, and that parrot on your shoulder is constantly, for every book, saying, oh, you can get £4 for that, you can get £6 for that. And you've got to ignore the parrot. So anyway, get into this pile of books that I've got today to show you. Today's mug, by the way, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So there's a charity shop nearby, and if I pass, then I'll go in and see what they've got. And their deal is, well, they sell books for £1, £2 in another shop nearby, and I don't know whether it's books that they can't sell in there that then move to the other shop, or whether it's books that they just presume. I think it's this one. I think these books, maybe they presume they can't sell at a higher price, so they sell it. It's 10 for £1, so 10p each. 10p each. But you can get some absolute bargains. The other week there was I think it was brand new, a Patti Smith autobiography, the old musician. A really nice cover. I don't think it had been even opened, and it was in this in the 10 for £1 thing. So I got it and took it up to Sedbergh as what in one of my refreshes, and priced it. I can't remember whether it was £4.50 or £5, because obviously to buy new would have been about 8, 9, or 10. So you've got to kind of provide. You don't price it 8, 9, or 10 because they can go into Waterstones and get it. So you want to provide an appetite for them to buy it, and that went straight away. So yeah, so in this 10 for £1 thing, you can get some bargains. So I've had 3 trips in these 40 books. I've had 3 trips. I'd done a 10 for £1, a 10 for £1, and a 20 for £2. What tends to happen is there won't be 10 perfect for sale. There won't be 20 perfect for sale. There might be. You'll get the ones that are obvious that they're obviously going to sell and you're going to make money on. And you might have, let's say you got 10 for £1, and so there's maybe 3, 4, 5, or 6 of those, and then 7 or 8, the 7th and 8th book, you think, oh, well, should be all right. And then there's some left over. You've got to fill your 9th and 10th book, because if you buy 7, you're still going to get charged £1. So it's worth, you may as well get the 10. So what tends to happen is on those 9th or 10th books, or the 19th or 20th books, there'll be something where you're saving up. Like I said, Clive Cussler, or you might have a James Patterson pile, or you might have a Frederick Forsyth pile, Catherine Cookson pile. Catherine Cookson, that's difficult. That's a difficult sell, is Catherine Cookson. I'll explain that on another day. But yeah, so you'll know that you're going to take 17 or 18 of those to Sedbergh via another selling mechanism, but 2 of them will go on your pile until you've got enough of a pile to sell as a bundle. But anyway, I've rambled on enough. We will now go through. I've rambled on for 20 minutes. My God. So anyway, here are the 40 books. The Wandering Fire by Guy Gabriel Kay. Fantasy, I presume. I think 3 of these a few months ago. Same place, at the charity shop. This has got a bit of spine bend. And I don't really have an avenue to sell fantasy because I'm not convinced. I did sell a load of Game of Thrones in Sedbergh about 6 or 8 months ago. I've tried to sell individuals and they don't sell. I might take a gamble one month and have a fantasy shelf, or I might just wait and put them on all on eBay or sell bundles on eBay. This condition isn't fantastic. It's probably a 150 or £2. Oh, in terms of what the bookshop charges me, so everybody rents shelves by the metre. The 6 shelves work out at, I think it's about 4 metres, and you get charged £3.50 a metre, and also every sale they take 15%. So it's a reasonable chunk that they're charging you, but you're not, if you're not spending much on the books, you're going to be your profit margin is still really high per book. You just got to sell them. So yeah, so first one is that one. I reckon 150 to £2, but I don't really want to sell that on its own because I don't think it'll sell. Railway Children, Edith Nesbit. These I know because I had a Secret Garden one that I read for a book club, published in 1906 first, but I think these were given away in the Daily Mail. Yeah, not to be sold separately from the Daily Mail, and these are about 2003, so they're about 20 odd years old. They come in you can get. I've seen them for sale in a set, but this is a sort of thing where I think if I put it in the kids section, it's not going to probably sell. But because it's a more classic book, I can put it on the classic shelf of my general 6 shelves, and this could go. So, for example, there's a Kidnapped that I've got there that I think is just gone. I don't think £3 will do it. I think maybe £2.50. I think I'll price it at £2.50. Next one, Bernard Cornwell, The Pale Horseman. I think this is in the Last Kingdom series. I think Uhtred, yeah, decent-ish condition. In fact, actually, it's not bad. Not bad at all. No spine bend. That could be a 250. The thing about this particular bookshop as well is there's different, like say a charity bookshop will sell maybe things for £1. There'll be like other second-hand bookshops that'll sell things for £1.50, or there's one down the road from Sedbergh that'll sell for maybe £3. So the same book will go from between 50p and £3. So for instance, last month I went for a wander, and there was a book. I've got the paperback. Justin Cronin, The Passage in hardback, really nice condition for 50p in one charity shop. I thought I could sell that for £4 all day, every day of the week. That'll go for £4. Probably more if I sold it somewhere else or at a book fair or something. But I just took it to the other bookshop. I bought it for 50p, rubbed the price out, put £4, and when I go in a fortnight, we'll see if it's sold. Right. I don't think this. Obviously, this is not the Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's Malt Whiskey Companion. Oh, that's nice. A Connoisseur's Guide to the Malt Whiskies of Scotland. And there's so there's all different. It lists. There's all different types of whiskies that you can buy. Now, one of my shelves is rural stuff. I picked up a lot of Wainwright walking books. I paid, I think, £12 was on Facebook Marketplace. I paid £12 for about 15 to 20 Wainwright books, which themselves are worth about £110, £120. And in that same job lot, there was about a dozen cycling books. On that, I've got a rural shelf. When I got all the Wainwrights, I thought I put some other nature books on there, some other walking books, some cycling books, some local books, called it rural and pastimes, because there was a book about hen keeping, couple of farming type books, and I'll probably stick this on that shelf. That's a nice one. What am I going to price that? I might have to look at that. This is the sort of book that might be worth £2.50 max on eBay, but it might be the sort of people will pay if somebody walks in there into whiskey and they pick this up. It's because, for example, they could decide, right, we're going to try every one and we're going to mark it when we've read it. I mean, they're probably not going to be conscious enough to mark it if they've drunk them all anyway. But yeah, that could be 5 or 6. I don't know. Or it could be more. That's one to investigate. I will put that separate. So that's an investigation one. Right, this one. Borrowers Afloat by Mary Norton. It's a nice book. Again, 10p. 10p. It's got pictures in. Yeah, it's got pictures in. I have to put my glasses on. This edition published in 1993, so 30 odd years old, really nice condition. 4, possibly 5. I'm going to say a little bit of marking there, but that's kind of normal. But spine's it's just perfect condition. Well, close to as perfect as you can get. 32 years old. I'm not going to sell that for any less than 4. This is a kid. This is in the kids series, A Tale of Two Cities. You might have seen. You used to get Enid Blyton's when I was a kid in this sort of thing. But it's a really nice. This drew me because of the cover. Really nice. It's been previously sold for £3.50. The pages they're not loose, but no, they're all right actually. All right. Really small print. Really small print. It looks bigger on the camera actually. So I don't know whether this is reduced in size for, because I don't know, is it pitched at a kid's book? Is it pitched at an adult book? In this series, you got Jane Eyre, Lorna Doone, Man in the Iron Mask, Vanity Fair, Water Babies, Gulliver's Travels, Ben Hur. So it's a mixture of kids' books and adult books. Heidi. I mean, if you had the lot with that spine, that'll look nice on the bookshelf. I'm going to say £3 rather than it's not a £2 book. I could go £3.50, but it could stick around at £3.50. It's like I said, Dickens isn't an easy one to shift, but that is a nice cover. You've got to say to yourself, you've spent 10p on it. Don't try. Why try and get £3.50 or £4 or higher for it when you can price it for £3 and get £3? So that's what we'll do. Bill Clinton and James Patterson. It's a double book. There's a book The President is Missing and The President's Daughter. Spine, a bit of a crease on it, but not bad. And I'm not convinced that's been read. I mean, look at that. That is nice. The little bit of creasage on the top, but absolutely perfect condition inside. Now, normally, I mean, but for a start, James Patterson is not an easy sell. They can stick around. I've got a job lot on Facebook Marketplace of hardbacks, which I'll talk about in another video, which is proving a tough sell, and there are loads in that for not much money. So sometimes James sells, sometimes it doesn't sell, but this is relatively recent. It's got Bill Clinton's name attached. It's in good nick. Normally I would say £2, £2.50 for a James Patterson in good condition, but because there's 2 books, I think a month at £4 might be useful. The other thing to bear in mind, which might make me go for £3.50, in fact, I think I will go for £3.50, is you've got to imagine that if I've got 6 meters or 4 meters worth of shelving over 6 shelves, thick books are it's not great because compared to thin books, because obviously you could sell 2 thin books for the same amount of money each of the, so a thin book for £3, a thin book for £3, and then this book might only be £3.50 or £3, but it's taken up twice the space. So if it hangs around, you're wasting valuable time on an unsold book. But I think we'll go £3.50 on that. That's the sticker on this one. These are easy to get off. So Terrier's The Year of the Locust. Decent, nice condition. A bit creasage at the top, but and there's a bit of spine bend. It's not perfect, but again, has that been read much? Not convinced that it has. And this is not an old. I know this is not an old book. Or not. I don't think it is anyway. I think it's probably 5 or 6 years old. 2023. Oh yeah, so it's the next book to I Am Pilgrim. I mean, with that there, that will make me drop it a bit. I'm going to say £3.50 or £4. I think it'll sell at £3.50. It might stick at £4. That's what I'm going to sell it for anyway. Michael Connolly, The Night Fire. Yeah, the new Ballard and Bosch thriller. 2019, first edition. Again, I mean that's nice condition. No spine damage. The sleeve is nice. Signed by the author. Hang on. No, can't be. Wow! Unbelievable. I didn't see that. I did not see that. My God. Wow. Now the thing is, with some of these hardbacks in nice condition, some of the other sellers you'll see them price the books at 8, 9, 10 higher, but I'll go lower to get rid. But when it's signed and it's in nice condition, oh, I'll have to think about that. I think it's a minimum of 7, a possible. It's 7 or 8. I think I'm going to go for, because somebody's going to get a nice book there for £7 or £8 signed, and you don't come across Michael Connolly signs every day of the week. Have a drink. Right, last one in this pile. So this must have been the 10 for a quid pile. Michael Moorcock, The Dragon in the Sword. Hardback. The dust jacket is it's a bit, can't get the camera out there, bit creased and dog-eared. I mean, the book itself is in nice condition. In fact, you know, there's no tears to the dust jacket. And I mean, this will be, let's have a guess. I'm going to say between 78 and 85. 87. Grafton Books, 87. It's a bit quite brown, but condition's nice. That's the investigate pile. Don't really want to be pricing that up low. This is the sort of thing where if I have a shelf 1 month of let's say I have a shelf of science fiction and fantasy all in one go, I could maybe get away with pricing this at a price higher than what I would than if I was selling it individually on, say, a shelf full of classics. So yeah, I'm probably not going to go for any less than a £5 on that. Yeah, 10p. 10p. Right, so that's one bag. Let's put these away.